To Orica Talks. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here to the 12th edition of Orica Kuwait. The talks are organized by Hospitality News Middle East in partnership with Leaders Group and Odema Consulting Services, the leading provider of consulting services for hotels, restaurants, spa and real estate projects. These sessions aim to shed light on hot topics in the industry, from food tech to women shaping gastronomy in Kuwait. And we have six amazing women with us here today. Please do follow Hospitality News Middle East and tag us in your stories. I would like to begin by introducing our moderator, the lovely Ms. Nada Alamuddin. She's the Nada is the managing partner of Odema Consulting Services, and she will be moderating the talk this afternoon. But before we start, it's a real pleasure to welcome our guest of honor at Orica Kuwait, who is Mr. Guillaume Gomez, joining us from France. And Guillaume is the personal representative of the French Republic for Food and Gastronomy for the president. So we are really honored to have him here. And I would like just to invite him to say a few words. Yes. Thank you.
Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the honor, for the guest of honor of this 12th Orica Fair. Just a few words to introduce myself, because you don't coming for hurt me, but this very interesting conference. Thank you very much to Orica to organize a talk, very interesting. I'm ambassador for the French gastronomy. It's a new job for me too. It's a new job in the world. It's a job to promote the values of the gastronomy. And thank you very much to all the chefs to participate today to this talk, because it's very important to build a bridge under our country, and the gastronomy is very important for that. So, thank you very much. Viva Orica, and a good talk about you.
Thank you very much, Guillaume. So today's talk is on empowering taste, women shaping Kuwaiti gastronomy and culinary heritage. So that you get to know our speakers, our panelists a bit better, I'm just going to read out a small bio about each one before we begin. So we kick off with Hanouf Al-Balhan. Hi. Who's the R&D chef for Chef Hanouf for kitchen and hotel consultations. Chef Hanouf has spent the past 20 years perfecting her craft, driven by a philosophy that passion and determination can overcome almost any challenge. She has presented TV and radio cooking programs, written cookbooks, and has founded restaurants. Up next, we have Mariam Al-Nusif, who's the owner and chef of Tampopo and Bonjiri. Mariam, a Kuwaiti chef trained in top London restaurants before launching Kuwait's first farmers market, Shakshuka, and her 2 restaurants. With her newest venture, Bonjiri, which made it onto the MENA's 50 best restaurants in 2023, she is elevating yakitori with a beak-to-tail menu, embodying her passion for local, sustainable produce and innovative cuisine. Thank you, Mariam. We have then Anfal Al-Rakhis, Director of Research and Development at Noon Company. Having started her culinary career 8 years ago at the JW Marriott and Four Seasons, Kuwaiti chef Anfal has spent 5 years in research and development at several companies that specialize in different cuisines. What she enjoys most about her job is fusing Western flavors with local ones to create truly unique dishes. Thank you, Anton. Dana Tura is the executive chef of Tatami Group, a culinary enthusiast and certified chef. Dana has over 14 years culinary experience in the F&B industry. She is an alumna of the Natural Gourmet Institute in New York and has worked with numerous restaurants regionally. She currently heads the Tatami Japanese Group's kitchens. Thank you, Dana. And last but not least is Basma Marouf, chef and managing partner of Cantina. Palestinian Kuwaiti chef Basma graduated from culinary school in Miami. She returned to Kuwait and began her career as the executive chef of Madison and Hague before opening a breakfast pop-up called Frankie's. She recently launched her first solo project called Cantina, which specializes in fresh pasta and grilled steaks. Over to you, Nadia.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you, Guillaume, for the note. And welcome again, ladies. It's a real honor to have 5 Kuwaiti chefs with us on the panel. This is our second session during the Oreca Talks. So let me start by my first question, and I'm going to direct it to Basma. How do you perceive really the evolving landscape of Kuwaiti gastronomy? Yes, please use that microphone. And in what ways do you see diversity, particularly with women's contributions influencing culinary trends?
Hello. First of all, I'd like to thank you for having me. I feel very honored to be sharing a stage with such inspirational women. To answer that question, I feel like we can point to Mimi Nassif as your prime example as a Kuwaiti chef, introducing such I mean, if you want to think of ramen in Kuwait, there's only one restaurant that you can think of, and that's Tampopo. Same with yakitori. It's only her, and it's only Bonjiri. So I think the gastronomy is developing, but at the same time, I think there is still a lot of gaps in the market, and there's a lot of cuisines that, I mean, Vietnamese, you can't think of a single one. Many other examples. So Kuwait does have a reputation for being, the food hub of the Middle East. But I think that there's still many, many gaps that need to be filled by people like us.
Hanouf, what do you think about that? What gaps do we have? How do you perceive really the culinary scene in Kuwait?
Hello, everyone. I think still there's gap, as she mentioned, Chef Basma. But actually, our cuisine, it's very rich. But still, we didn't found that fine dining Kuwaiti cuisine. So I think this is my mission, one of my mission, to take update or upgrade for this cuisine to show for the people or the world. That's it.
Mariam?
Again, the gap.
Yes, what do you think about the gap? How do you perceive? Why did you come up with your own concepts? We were speaking about you having introduced to this market something which is very particular. So if you can tell us about it, and I know that you have been awarded maybe last year as well among the 50 best restaurants. So just if you can touch base on that.
I mean, in general, the food scene in Kuwait has evolved a lot, because I remember the time when franchise restaurants used to be what was popular, and now the perception has changed. If a new concept opens, if you hear that it's local, it has more value than if it has come from somewhere else, which I think is a big step.
Do you think that's because of the pride? Because we are proud to be having a Kuwaiti creating a restaurant versus acquiring a franchise?
No, it's just more exciting. It's more original. Like if you bring something that already exists in several countries and it's another branch opening here, is not as exciting as if someone is creating a concept from scratch. That means there's a person behind it that is, you know, taking the risk. So it's more for me, and I think it has more value in general in the perspective of the market here, if it's a local concept.
Okay, and if we go to you, Dana, what do you think about that? Do you agree with her?
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. Do I agree with Mariam? Yeah, I agree with Mariam. I think in general, it attracts a lot more attention if projects are homegrown. People are much more curious. يعني احنا كويتيين ملكوفين. We want to see what people are doing. We want to see what people are creating. And I think that in terms of the landscape changing, there's been a huge transformation in the culinary landscape in Kuwait, especially with homegrown projects and with local chefs, because back 20 years ago, I was still in my 20s. I don't really remember a chef, a local chef. So that started changing maybe I'd say 15-ish years ago. And when people started seeing that people were going to culinary school and becoming certified chefs, that also captured a lot of people's attentions, because it was either you were an engineer or you were a doctor or you were a lawyer. It was very conventional. And when they started seeing people taking careers on that were on the creative realm and taking those skills on a professional level, people got very excited about it. And I think it's nice to see people taking such huge risks within the market here, because it is an extremely competitive market. The costs are very high to open a restaurant. I mean, construction, rent, it's a cash intensive industry to be in. So when you see someone that is a professional chef opening a project or doing something new, there's a lot more appreciation for it. And I think that people like the engagement that comes along, like as guests and customers. They like coming to a restaurant. They like engaging with the person that created the menu, the person that's working on the recipes, the person that's in the kitchen, cooking their food. It's a much more intimate experience to go to a restaurant, which is a homegrown project, for sure.
Hi.
Hello.
So basically, I definitely think that there is a lot of diversity that can be made in Kuwait. We still think that when we want to go out, we still can't decide where to go, as much as there's a lot of competition in Kuwait, but there is still more space to have new concepts, and definitely local concepts is what we need. And I definitely agree with Hanouf, having a local traditional Kuwaiti food with an up-leveled and upgraded fine dining. It's definitely something needed. And local chefs opening their restaurant, we definitely would support them more than when it's franchised, because we know what are the struggles they went through. And definitely, most of the successful restaurants in Kuwait are definitely by local chefs, not the franchises.
Okay, so if we go back to Kuwaiti cuisine, and Chef Hanouf, you were speaking about that there is a gap on this market for high-end Kuwaiti food. How do you think that women in particular can preserve the heritage of that cuisine?
First of all, I want to mention about the chefs' histories in this country. Still, our market is tricky and a small market. So we don't have a lot of experience by chefs. Maybe I have 20, but I think no one of us having more than this experience. And even my experience is in a different part in this field. So that's why I think the gap is still, we need to fill it. I think within 10 years more, I think we will show something new as a concept, as a Kuwaiti concept. And sorry, can you repeat your question?
How do you think that women in particular can preserve the heritage? Because Kuwaiti cuisine has got lots of heritage in it. So how do women can play a role to preserve it?
I think so. For Kuwaiti cuisine, I think who's running or who's owning this cuisine till now as a Kuwaiti lady chefs, because it's about history and it's about you know, between the heritage and the behavior behind this heritage.
Okay.
So our cuisine, it comes from 3 countries who's behind us: Saudi and Iranian and Iraq, and for sure India, because of most of our materials comes from there. So that's why this cuisine, ladies who goes to present this cuisine more than men's. Men's, as I see, they prefer international cuisine more than our cuisine.
We have a chef in
Yes.
the audience, a Kuwaiti chef. Yes. Okay.
Okay, that's all. You want to mention something?
Mariam, you are not into the Kuwaiti cuisine, but basically being a chef now and having created those successful restaurants of yours, do you think ever to be like as well going into the Kuwaiti gastronomy and maybe one day seeing a Kuwaiti local cuisine from you? Yeah.
I mean, I can define Kuwaiti cuisine at different, I feel, levels. Like there's the literal definition of Kuwaiti cuisine, which is something that I am not. I love eating it, but I'm not. It doesn't excite me to make it. But that's me personally. But I also see Kuwaiti cuisine and Kuwaiti culture as a melting pot, as a trade center. I'm talking pre-discovery of oil, where it was like, you know, the Silk Route went through it. And this is how our language, our food, our culture has been shaped by different cultures and traveling. Kuwaitis made money, and Kuwait became a hub because of them sailing out of the Gulf. They were one of the first Gulf countries to build ships that sailed outside of the Gulf, and we reached Africa and India. So I think that is also, I can relate to that. I can relate to being excited with other cultures and bringing what I see back. And I think that's why Kuwait's cuisine is so so diverse, and because I think it's still in our DNA to, you know, travel. There's a Kuwaiti people have traveled to every, like, no matter how remote you go, you think you're in the middle of South America, and then you go and eat in a coffee shop, and then someone tells you there was a Kuwaiti here yesterday. And I'm like, what? How did they make it here? Like, it is a small country, so we travel a lot, and it's naturally we want to bring back what we saw and we loved. So I think they're part of the same, like, Kuwaiti cuisine can be literally Kuwaiti cuisine, which is very comforting and close to my heart. And the curious Kuwaiti traveler, you know, can also be part of
And
that.
that's a fact, actually, that Kuwaiti food and Kuwaiti scene in F&B has been one of the strongest in the region. It has always been known that Kuwait is the country where the trend will be starting from here. So, and your biggest F&B operators now, though you do not agree, but they have been the biggest. They are in Kuwait, I mean, in terms of franchises. Will we be seeing, you think, one day the Kuwaiti cuisine becoming global? Like, I'm Lebanese, we have the Lebanese cuisine, and we have been able to go global. Will we be able, one day to be seeing that happening? And what would it take to be doing it, you think? Somebody would like to answer?
Although that would be very nice, I think it's not realistic.
Why?
Cuisines that have made their way all around the world, they usually they have like big diaspora communities, but us as Kuwaitis, you know, we're very blessed and privileged, and we although we do travel a lot, we like to remain here. So I don't see that happening, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I guess the countries that you see their cuisines making it, some, not all of them, I don't want to generalize, but most of them is because there's a lot of immigrants from those countries. And Kuwait doesn't, I mean, as we are now, but if something, Allah la gula, happens and we had to go other places and live somewhere else, I think we have a very good chance, honestly. Like, our food is great. And it's better than a lot of cuisines I've had traveling. So if the food I have at home can be somewhere else, yeah, I think we'd do great.
Okay. Now, going back to you, Dana, what kind of challenges have you been facing throughout your career, and even right now? Are there really challenges that you're facing because you are a woman chef?
For me personally, I haven't actually had that experience, thankfully. I worked in a few restaurants in New York, and I felt it more when I was in the States than doing it here. But also, to be fair, doing it here, I've always done it on a higher position level. So I've always either done my own dinners, or, you know, Mariam and I used to do a few dinners together back in the day, or like I've headed kitchens. So I've always sort of been the chef in charge in the kitchens in Kuwait. And I have not faced any challenges being a woman in the kitchen here. And also when I worked in the States, I didn't have any, it wasn't direct. I think there was like, there was an undertone, but it wasn't anything that was obvious. For me, it was more about, I think, I don't see kitchen work as a gender issue. I see it more as a character issue. It's not for everyone. You've got to have a certain type of personality, a certain type of character. It's a mentality. It's a mentality more so than a question of whether male or female. And I've been because I think that traditionally people just assume that chefs and executive chefs or chefs in charge are going to be men, but I think that women bring something different to the table in terms of running kitchens. And
what is it that we bring like different?
I think that women are much more patient,
Mhm.
which you need to have in a commercial kitchen. Sorry, guys. And I think that we are able to zoom out and look at things on a more macro level. And, you know, I think women are naturally more nurturing. So even the way that we, sorry, the way, okay. I think the way that we approach, cooking is different. I think the way that we approach staff is different. I think it's just a different, I definitely feel like it's a more nurturing approach. And even in terms of dealing with staff, you know, sometimes the guys will come to me and they'll say, chef, you know, you should have been a bit harder on this guy or harder. And I'm pretty strict in the kitchen, but I zoom out a lot and I try to see things within context of what they are. And I think that women can bring those things to the kitchens, because a kitchen is a place of nurturing. And when you cook, it is a nurturing activity. I'm not saying that, you know, it's not like kumbaya in the kitchens. It's still, it's a professional kitchen, but it's just women bring something different. And I like hiring women in our kitchens. And I'm happy that we, you know, just this year, I've started seeing more women apply for chef positions in the kitchen. They're coming in as Commis 2s and Commis 1s. And, you know, I have a few CDPs, and I'm happy to see that. And I think also they, you know, the kitchens that I have the women in, those kitchens behave differently. And when I say the men behave differently when women are in the kitchen. They're a little more on their toes, and that's what I've been seeing over the past year since we've hired a few women. So,
Chef Hanouf, you wanted to add something?
Yes, I want to add something. Based on my experience, ladies have some feelings, different feelings with when they're creating recipes. They have some comfort ideas or comfort feelings or comfort even behavior through the recipe. And I believe, and I think everyone there believe, that no one can forget the flavors of their mother cooks. So that's why ladies in the kitchen something different. And from my experience about the genders supporting, yes, all of the men, and I think Kuwaiti men's usually they support the women, and especially in our career. It was very hard for us, from my side, to accept from my family the ideas that lady will be a chef in the kitchen, sharing the kitchen with all men's. But
Or maybe by itself working in a kitchen.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And even I remember that my father was asked me, and he told me, who will accept you as a wife if you will spend all the day working with the men?
Yes.
And the end of the day will be men like her. Yeah, I remember that. So, but based on my experience, no, the men's and the chefs, I remember him, he was supporting us very well, actually. Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Anfal, you have been and still working at hotels. So you worked at the JW and at the Four Seasons during your path, career path. So what can you tell us about that? How did, now you used to be working for international operators. So I know that there they do as well give you all the support needed. But how does it feel for the men to be working with a woman in the kitchen?
As my start in the culinary hospitality in hotels, of course, it wasn't easy in the beginning, especially with the JW Marriott. Till today, I was not only the first female chef who worked there, I was the first Kuwaiti chef, not men, not women. So I was with full foreign staff. So my struggle wasn't that I was a lady. My struggle was that I was working in a place that wasn't really accepting
Exactly.
Kuwait. That was, I can call
at
it
the
as a
same
struggle.
time that it was not accepting Kuwaitis.
Yes,
Okay.
as a nationality, not as a gender.
As a gender.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I never faced an issue with gender in my career. As I started in the culinary I started with a very low position as a Commie 3. So right now working, and I moved my way through, right now working as an R&D, when I deal with all the chefs, I know what they're doing and I know what they're facing because I've been in their
There,
position.
so you have
I went
exactly.
to this transition, and as a gender, I didn't really face any issues with the men or female. I saw more acceptance actually.
And do you have to be working harder, longer to prove yourself that you are as competent as men, or this is not an issue at all, being in the kitchen and being a woman?
This is, I believe that working harder and long hours and all of it, this goes for the career. This doesn't go for the gender. Men and women, we work as it's our career. It's not that because we're women we have to work more. Even men, they work as much as we do. It's our career that's making us work longer. Yeah.
Now, Dana, you were talking about employing women within the team and giving that opportunity. Ladies, if we speak about mentorship is crucial in the personal development. So how have you experienced or observed mentorship and leadership dynamics among the culinary scene? And how does it really impact the industry? And are we going to be like really looking in the future and seeing that we're gonna be having more and more women on the upper levels of that of the culinary scene, you think? Basma?
I would certainly hope so. In my personal experience, when I first moved back home after graduating from culinary school and my first job in the kitchen, I feel that I was very much mentored by my boss at the time, although it wasn't explicit, but that's how I felt, that he
Your
was
boss
my
in
mentor.
Kuwait?
Yeah. At Madison and Hague. And then when I moved on from that position, into my next one. One of the reasons that I ended up leaving and branching out on my own was because I felt that I wasn't being mentored in my second place that I was at. And I think it's very important to constantly be learning and
Evolving.
learning and evolving from people that are more experienced than you. And I would, I feel now that I'm in a position to mentor somebody else. And if that opportunity ever came, I would love to. And I do hope that we see more of it in the future.
Mariam, would you like to add anything on what Basma said? What do you think about that? Were you mentored during your career path?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I've worked under amazing chefs. So yeah, and I've learned a lot from them, a lot of leadership qualities. For me here, my mentorship, challenges for me, I don't see this industry as gendered. It's not a thing for me. So I just see mentorship as and even struggles, like the struggles I go through, I feel every chef goes through in Kuwait. But mentorship, my struggle is I'm trying to work with Kuwaitis, and this has been challenging. It's
in which perspective?
I want like younger, aspiring Kuwaiti chefs that want to train. It's hard, just because of the nature of the way the country and the way our culture is. Like, there's so many options. There's so many easier options. There's not many examples around some people of hard work, so they don't expect to put that much work in. To them, it's ridiculous to work that much for that much pay. And especially in this industry, it is ridiculous, to be honest. Like, if we were to be paid, any chef to be paid fairly, I would not accept less than $1 million KD a day. Like, for the amount of work and hours, and so it's not like that. You don't calculate it like that. It's a choice you make. If you want to work in this industry, you must have very strong feelings toward cooking, and you're very passionate about it, and it's more to you than that. Then it's okay for you to go through those hours and do all of that hard work and the pressure and the stress. So it's hard for me I really want to me, it's like me opening different branches of other people that work with me, go out and do their thing, but and use some of the values that, they've learned in my space. But it's been very hard. Like, I lose them quickly.
I think to be a chef is something very hard for both of genders, as a man or woman.
It's very demanding.
Yes, and especially for women, because if you want to be mother and you're running your own restaurant, something very hard, because
we have Dana who has twins.
Yes. يعني الله يقويك صراحة. Yeah. I have a one, and I feel hard, so hard, because you can't spend all let's say, the holidays and many things with him, especially if you are owning the holidays of their people. So you cannot to be free for your child, and it's not easy to be mother and chef and celebrity or successful chef in this career. Yeah. And I think we did well, I hope, inshallah.
Dana, what can you say about that? How much you're struggling, really?
About being a mother and a chef? Yes. Oh my God. Honestly, I'm numb, and I'm going to use this as a quick therapy session. It's exhausting. I mean, I get home and my kids are 3 years old. I have twins, and when they see me, they're like, "Mom," and I'm just like, I'm dead. I'm dead, because the kitchen is a parallel universe. The lighting is not great. The sound of the exhaust, the cooking, and it's when you leave the kitchen, my ears throb because of, and my, your senses have to readjust. So just being in that environment all day, it's extremely intense. And then going home to my kids who are toddlers, and they're excited and they miss me. And of course, there's mom guilt of you're going to work again. So what I do is sometimes I bring my kids to the kitchen, hairnets, of course. And so I want them to see the environment that I'm working in. I want them to see the place so that when I leave home, they understand what I'm doing, and they see the rapport that I have with the chefs, and so they're able to engage with what I do. So I think it's important also that there's not a cutoff like mom life, work life. To me, I have to integrate those two worlds, and I also, we have cameras in the kitchen, so I'll open up the cameras in the kitchen and I'll show the kids. This is where I'm going today, and they'll ask me, oh, which chef is this? I'm slowly starting to integrate them so that they don't feel like I'm disappearing. And I think it's difficult with younger kids than it is with older. And also I'm in my mid 40s, so I think naturally just tired. And then adding toddlers to the mix just makes it even more. And kitchens are intense, and toddlers are intense. So you've got that combination. But I really think that if you try to integrate those two worlds, it makes it easier, because then the kids get excited about the fact that their mother's a chef, because they'll keep on saying, oh, mommy, you're a chef. And they think it's very cool. And then they want to put on an apron. So they feel that they're also a part of it. And it makes it less difficult for them when I do go off to work, because they have a sense of like a 0.001% sense of what it is. So take your kids into the kitchen, guys. It makes a difference.
Now, we were just mentioning earlier that, and we know that Kuwaitis travel a lot and they do appreciate food, and Kuwait is a hub. Now, how basically, and they know exactly what they are expecting, and they have like requirements, if we're gonna put it this way. So how are you really influencing in sharing their preferences into your kitchens with your concepts? So there is like, how does this influence impact the culinary offerings in your establishments? Are you like basically twisting your offering to be more acceptable for Kuwaitis? For instance, for you do have specific cuisines. So did you twist those cuisines so that Kuwaitis will accept the taste? Or how do you do it? You just like stay original to the concept itself?
No, not that either. Like, I do try to localize my restaurants, but not the way you described it. But for example, with the ingredients, that if I can use anything local,
okay,
yeah, that's locally grown or locally produced or
like
locally
from Sadir Farms.
Yeah, she knows we have a group on WhatsApp. Anything that's in season, we get the list and we just work seasonally as much as we can with Dana and with other farms. That is how like I adjust it.
So
to
we
the
just
local.
use local produce as ingredients. Okay.
Yeah, which makes it's like it organically gives it character and gives it a Kuwaiti character. Like I don't put like, for example, za'faran in my dish to make it Kuwaiti. That's not how I like to do it. I like to work, like I like to keep the ramen true to what it is.
So it's
And
origin.
yeah, but I try to use fresher, cleaner, closer, cheaper ingredients, which just makes the whole operation more sustainable, environmentally, economically,
Basma, you have cantina,
Yes.
which is steak and homemade pasta.
Homemade fresh pastas, yes. And we also try to use as much as possible locally sourced ingredients from Sadir. But back to your original question, first of all, Kuwaitis, yes, they travel a lot and they are very aware of the worldwide culinary trends.
Indeed.
And as restaurant operators, we have to be also very aware of them and offer them on our menus because Kuwaitis are expecting them. At the same time, there is a segment of the population that is a little bit
Traditional.
not traditional, but they have a certain palate. They like things saucy. They like corn, lots of
Mayonnaise.
cheese, mayonnaise. So we do have to kind of tweak some things to just make sure that those offerings are available to the people who want them. Definitely.
In your consultancy, Chef Hanouf, what advices you give and how do you really help your clients to build the menus?
Through my experience, I faced many crises actually, especially with consultancy, because the mentality of Kuwaiti people, it's very different and very unique, and even though they're very specific sometimes. So this is to get their palate or their ideas of what they want to do something very hard. So it's not easy to get exactly what they want, but you keep practicing and you keep updating yourself to help them to find the final conclusion of the palette that they are looking for. So I think now they have a good experience and good, what we call it, experience with this. Before 10 years, when they go to create a concept, exactly they want copy-paste. They don't have
Copy-paste from international concept?
cuisine or franchising or something unique that it's pop up in the market. But now, no, they have specific what they want looking
They
for.
know what they want.
Exactly, because I think they get more experience. Yeah.
And Anfal, you with the R&D job that you do, can you tell us more about your experience with that?
What I realized with the R&D is you can definitely not please everyone. That's 100% for sure. But creating something, it depends on the consultancy, it depends on the restaurant. What do they want exactly? Do they want to be like pleasing everybody's taste bud? Is it a family-friendly restaurant? Is it, or do they want something unique? So it all depends on what are they asking you for. And even if they want something unique, we always, like for me, I always put like at least 4 safe dishes that needs to be there, just because in the end you
want to
we
sell.
always, exactly, because you're going to do a menu for them, they're going to come to you in a few months. This didn't sell. Okay, this didn't sell because they asked for something, and in the end we have to always and then listen to what people actually want. And it depends on the people. Do they want to take the risk? Do they just want to sell? It all depends on what is the owner's perspective and what does he want.
Is it possible to see any of your concepts, for the ones who have like their own brands, expand and be somewhere outside of Kuwait? Or you are from the school which says, no, we need to be there, we need to be in our kitchen to monitor everything? I think it's for Maryam and Basma.
No, I've been in the beginning, I couldn't imagine myself out of the kitchen. But I think after it's been 6 years now, and I have a strong team and I'm there every day, but I do get a tickle to do something somewhere that I love going, like a city that I love. But it's still, I still can't imagine the commute. So Well, yeah, I'm thinking about it if it's close.
Basma, when we were like off stage, we were discussing that point and we were saying, and you do not believe about franchising.
Yeah.
And you told me that franchising is not really, we cannot preserve like the same quality. It's like really commercial.
Yeah.
So will that be answering that we will never see cantina outside of Kuwait?
I mean, never say never. But if Cantina is only 2 months old, so definitely not anytime soon. And I'm there, 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. And for now, that's what it needs to be the best restaurant that it can be. So just going to focus on that for now.
Okay, collaboration is key in the culinary world, and we know that. Is there any collaboration among you ladies? And do you ever like come together for like a collaborative effort for gastronomy, especially in the Kuwaiti cuisine level, especially for the ladies who are more into the traditional cuisine?
Till now, no, not yet. No one. It's collaboration for this cuisine, but as the media position, or actually TV shows, or
Because you are into,
Yes.
you're doing
yeah,
cookbooks.
I do this, and
on
also
TV.
I want to present all my colleagues in this career, especially ladies and men also. Thank you, Khaled, to be here today. Yeah, I love to support them. I love that. But I hope, inshallah, we have for sure. Actually, now I'm doing my master degree for the GCC cuisine. So for sure, I will go to collaborate with all of them, because I have to take some ideas with a different perspective, different histories, for sure. Because all of us coming from different background. So for sure, it will be inshallah soon.
Dana, would you like to add anything?
Well, Mariam and I
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. We did.
You did collaboration.
we
yeah.
did. I mean, that's how sort of we became good friends, was through our work. We started, we did a lot of pop-up dinners together. We did a few brunches here and there. I was also part of Shakshuka. We would cook together in our homes with our families, and she's been to a Thanksgiving dinner. So I mean, Mariam and I have worked professionally together in the past. And, for instance, I went to Besma's restaurant last week, and I didn't, because I don't know you on a personal level, but when I left, I thought I was really excited about her food, and I thought, I'd like to do something with her. So I get excited about what people are cooking, what they're doing. I find inspiration through what other people are doing as well. And when I taste something good and I get excited, then it makes me want to do something with them, So once you settle, maybe a collab or something. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Any future projects before that we leave the floor for the audience to ask questions? Okay, Mariam, anything cooking?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff cooking, but I don't know.
Can you announce anything?
No, it's still cooking.
Still cooking?
The beginning, because it's not about whether to do or not. I just don't want to stress myself out like I did in the bit. Like when I did Tampopo and Bonjiri, I had that energy, and Shakshuka also. Like I had that energy. Now I just want to have a more balanced life, but there's a side of me that is also like there's so much I want to do, but I don't want to be working like crazy again.
We
with long
want
hours.
we want the million. You said the million KD. What did you say per day? You want how much?
1 million.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's what every chef deserves. But nothing. But yeah, I'm trying to find a good work, personal life balance, because I did exhaust myself, and it did affect the stress does affect your body, and I don't want to do that anymore, so I'm trying to do it in a chiller way now.
Anyhow, it needs to have the balance for you to be able as well to pour more energy, to be creating more. That's for sure.
Yes.
Nothing new coming up. I think it's just taking things slow with the consultancy, and just what Mariam said, balancing between work and life that's the main goal currently.
Dana?
We're opening another tatami in a few weeks' time at the Avenue, so that's a huge project. And
Mabruk.
also, thank you. And also, we're also launching a new catering business as well. More of a like a private dining experiences, and that's also happening in the next few weeks.
So you're very, very busy.
Yeah.
I guess your twins are barely seeing you.
Crunch time starts when I leave here today. So I've got 3 big events, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then, staff training, and there's a lot of things happening right now. So yeah.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
And I guess that you just opened Cantina as you
Yes.
announced and mentioned. So
It's
I do
only
believe
2 months old. We will be opening for dinner. For lunch.
so. Currently, you're opening just for dinner.
Currently only for dinner. Plan is to open for lunch by February. But focusing just on Cantina for now. But definitely it's not my last restaurant.
Great. So let us give a round of applause to those ladies. And please feel free to ask any question.
Thank you. Hi, ladies. Thank you for a really authentic and a great panel. I'm Ashish Tulsian. This is my first visit to Kuwait. I'm from States, and I run a restaurant technology company. I've been a restaurateur in the past, like 15 years back. I fell into this business, so I know a little bit about what it feels on the floor. Thankfully, I was not a chef, so got saved from some heat, literally. Thank you for a lot of truth bombs, Dana. That was really refreshing. My question to all of you is from the lens of being a chef operator. How do you look at scale challenges and how do you look at technology helping you? This is a biased plug because I run a tech company. But at the same time, the second layer of that question is, how do you look at delivery? Because I can see, you're talking about boutique concepts, concepts where, Basma is talking about like really being careful about what is it, at the ingredient level and how the food is presented and given to the customer. How do you look at delivery business today? What COVID did as a compulsion, do you guys still continue that in your concepts as R&D chef? What has changed in the kitchen as well as at the concept level, at a business level? How do you look at delivery and scale challenges that come with it? Do you leverage technology and how?
For me, like you said, Corona's what forced me into delivery. So I had to go into delivery. So one of my restaurants has delivery. And now that everything's back to normal, I constantly have the urge to remove delivery just because it disrupts my dine-in. And I have a very small restaurant. It's a 15-seater, that's it. So there's no space. It's a headache. Customers are upset calling, and because I removed all numbers to get to us, they find my mobile and they call me. And I honestly think we should stop it. But my team is saying that it does add an increment of, and even my customers, but I still undecided on that one. And in terms of technology, for me, I love menus and I'm not into QR codes, but because the nature of a ramen shop in Japan, there is no waiter. So there's a vending machine outside the ramen shops. You put in your money, you put in what you want, you get like small like stubs, I think they're called, and you get your change. So there's no cashier, there's no waiter, and then you go in, you put them on the counter, and the chef takes them, and he took them from you. He knows that that is for you, and he gives you the food. So it just, because of the size of the restaurant, it just makes more economic sense to not have a waiter. And there's also no space, literally no space for the waiter to get around. So I have like basically reached out for technology to help me with that, since I couldn't find those vending machines, or the ones in Japan don't work here in Kuwait because of the currency. So my solution was to let people order by themselves. And that eliminated my waiter moving up and down and bumping into people. People that already know what they want, that are regulars, they come in, they order, it comes through, they pay, they leave without waiting for the waiter to go back. So it has made my operation smoother, less mistakes. I mean, it still has its glitches, but we're working on it. So yeah, I don't know if that helped.
Okay, Lisa.
Yes.
My question is for Mariam, Dana, and Basma. As someone who used to live in Europe and moved back to the Middle East, which is where my family is originally from, I'm curious to know why the three of you left the places that you studied or spent, because I think you're in London, Mariam, you're in New York, and you studied in Miami. So why and when was it, that moment that you realized that you actually want to come back to Kuwait and pursue your careers? And do you feel that you could have gone further, perhaps, if you had remained outside the country? So just curious about that.
Sure. I'm afraid my answer is probably not as interesting as you would hoped. It was a legality issue. Once you finish schooling and you finish your 1 year or so of OPT that you're permitted, you have to come home. Actually, I went to culinary school because I didn't want to come home. So I extended my studies after I did an undergrad at FIU, and then I got a master's degree, and then I did a year of OPT, and then I went to culinary school because I wasn't ready to come home. And then you kind of run out of options, and then you have to come home.
I think that's
But I'm
always
very
how it
happy. I'm very happy that I did.
I think I sort of share Besma's sentiment a bit. I also went to culinary school because I was in investment banking before going to culinary school, and I needed a drastic change, and I moved to New York without a plan, and I did a whole bunch of different things, and I took random cooking classes at different schools, and then I fell in love with this one, and I said, okay, that's it. I'm gonna go to culinary school. I'd always loved cooking. I didn't have the legal issue because I have a U.S. passport. But after finishing culinary school, I'd worked in a few restaurants in New York, and I thought to myself, I want to go back home. So for me, I had decided, and it felt good to finally decide to actually want to come back home, because working in New York in restaurants and having to break down the kitchen at 1 o'clock in the morning, you're walking home at, by 1:32 a.m. you get home, it's 2:30. Like it was rough. It was rough. And I was in my late 20s at the time. So I still had a lot of energy, but I just thought, this is not how I want to go about starting my culinary career, because I'm getting slammed, and I'm getting worked to the bone, and there's no time for anyone to really even recognize the effort that you're putting into the work that you're doing. So it was a conscious decision for me, and I was actually very happy to come back home and give my adult life a second chance as a chef in Kuwait. Whereas when I came home from college, I'd worked for 6 years. And I think that was the turning point for me, that I was in a position now to where I could decide. I was calling my own shots in a very different way. So yeah, I decided to come back home. I chose not to stay in the States. And I'm very happy that I did that. I actually don't think that I would have done as well in the States, and I would not have had the opportunities that have been given to me here. Like, people have come to me with opportunities. I haven't had to do a lot of chasing around. I haven't had to, I hustle in the kitchen, but I haven't had to really hustle for opportunities. And, especially now with kids, that makes things, Kuwait's not so, it's plushy. It's very comfortable here. So, yeah.
I did have the legal issue. I was trying to find a way around it. So I wasn't planning on coming back to Kuwait, but I visited for the summer after finishing cooking school and after working in a few restaurants. And there was a lot of opportunities the first thing I did in Kuwait was catering with a friend of mine. And it was just so much fun entering like people's lives that way and cooking for them and bringing what I was learning. Kuwait, for me, but Kuwait has warmth that I didn't feel in London, and it was just so much fun to share. And I feel like if I had stayed in London, it would have been challenging because of the level of competition. But in Kuwait, there's a different kind of challenge where you had to open doors that haven't been opened before, or do things and take risks. There was more opportunity, but like doing it the way, like bringing back what I learned and the culture in the kitchen and the work ethic that I saw in London, bringing it back here gave me an edge in like what we're doing. Just felt like there was so much to give. It was rewarding here. And it's, like I said, Kuwait, it's where my family is, where my friends are. There's warmth, there's community, in London, that wasn't the case. Yeah. Thank you.
Hanouf wants to as well answer you for the first question.
Yeah, based on my own experience, I started the delivery since 1998, but as a catering with a different perspective of catering or delivery, because the order usually it comes 2-3 days before. But 2014, I started 4 concept with element delivery. So by calling, they get their delivery. And after Corona, something very different, especially with the technology when it comes for the delivery concept. So I think with the delivery concept, especially after Corona, there is a huge, what we call it, a huge, yes, عشان أترجمها تاخذ وقت. Yes, تاخذ وقت فعلا. Because my English is not very well, my Arabic is better. So I'm trying to عشان تجي الحين بردها عربي عشان أردها مرة ثانية. Okay.
A huge drive for them to have the experience not only on the delivery but
no, I remember that. The speed for the delivery, it becomes very tricky for the order. So I think technologies help us, but still, as operation-wise, we need something to help us more. This is what I think. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, one last question. Gentleman behind.
Oh, no. Okay.
I'm sorry. I just thought the gentleman
Thank you for
behind.
that. So it was briefly mentioned that Bonjiri has won an award, and I'm so sorry for butchering the name of this award. I believe it's the 50 best Middle East restaurants in the Middle East. Thank you. I'm proud of that too. Congratulations for that, by the way. So I was wondering now, on a more global context, do you believe the concepts that you have created would be able to contribute to the global culinary conversation, in which ways?
Contribute to the global conversation.
Yeah. So
Sure.
now I'm going off the idea. So for instance, for Bonjiri, for instance, it's won the 50 best restaurants in the Middle East. Do you believe there is a possibility of that being also in a sense contributing to a larger conversation outside of the region?
I still don't get it.
It's okay. So no, it's more of because it has. So we've seen that Bonjiri won this award.
Yeah.
It's now known within the region, one of the best restaurants in the Middle East. Now, looking at this at a more global context, do you think it would be possible for concepts in Kuwait, so not specifically Bonjiri, and this is of course open to all of the panelists, do you believe it would be able to reach a much larger scale and
Yeah.
more global context, and in what way?
I mean, Tampopo made it to another 50 thing. I don't know. I forgot what it's called. Discovery, but that one is a global one. So it's a global search engine under 50 best. That's called Discovery, 50 best Discovery, or I'm not sure. I'm still receiving the Hada, but Tampopo made it on that one. So I guess it's part of the conversation. I guess, yeah. No, she's okay. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much. So again, a round of applause to the ladies. Thank you again.